And now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the second hour of RoadWorthy Drive Behind the Scenes. I'm Ken Chester, in studio with the usual suspects, Jack at the controls.
Hello.
Sasha maintaining our social media.
Hello.
And, of course, myself. In breaking news for this hour, the U.S. is actually poised to become the #2 crude oil producer in the world. I'll explain how we got there. Also, putting dreams in driveways. Better financing options is allowing folks to put very expensive cars in their driveway to drive, believe it or not, even now. Topics. Here come the Chinese, and they're actually coming. It looks like 2019 is the year that a Chinese make will actually make an appearance in the American market. And I'm going to tell you who the domestic manufacturer helping them is. You might be surprised. Then I'm going to talk about something we don't talk about. Now, the abbreviation is called OBD2, which is the Onboard Diagnostic 2 port in every car that's ever been built since 1996. We talk about cybersecurity here. You have no idea that the vehicle you're driving right now is also subject to being hacked. And we'll explain what I mean by that. And then finally, here's a question for you. You think General Motors may in fact beat Tesla to market with a fully electric pickup truck? We'll explore the possibilities right here in RoadWorthy Drive Behind the Scenes. I'm glad that you chose to spend this hour with us, and we're going to get started, so get settled in for the ride. Jack, 11 minutes.
11 minutes, sir.
Ready,
Here we go.
sir. Do it when you're ready.
I do you want to go faster? I do you want to go faster? Yeah!
It's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester. Ken is a nationally syndicated automotive journalist and photographer who has been in and around the industry for over 30 years. So tune in for your fill of automotive information and entertainment with your automotive ringmaster, Ken Chester.
Thank you for tuning in. This is RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester, America's premier automotive news and information talk show. Yes, we're fluent in car talk here, but don't let that scare you. We're about explaining the swirl of technology that you face in and around your vehicle every day. I explain what's coming and what it means to you in plain English. We talk tech, since much of the technology that's being developed today has some type of eventual mobility application. In the meanwhile, I also equip you with the information you need and should have right now with respect to your vehicle, from choosing, buying, and leasing, to trading in your old wheels and what you need to know about your credit, financing, and even insurance. You don't have to be a car nut to enjoy my show, but it doesn't hurt if you are. As usual, we have plenty to talk about during this hour, so let's get started. In breaking news, it's about crude oil as the U.S. improves its position in the world as a major producer, and how creative financing is putting automotive dreams in motorist driveways. Later in the hour, the Chinese are coming. No, really, they're coming. And it may have some deep-reaching consequences. Now, there's also cybersecurity risk in your OBD2 port in your current car. It's a thing, and yeah, if you've got a car that's 1996 or newer, you have one. We'll talk about it. And then finally, will General Motors build an electric pickup truck before Elon Musk? All this with our regular cast of characters during this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. Now, as always, RoadWorthy Drive is not even possible without the sage guidance and steady hands of my friend and RoadWorthy Drive executive producer, Jack DeLeon. Good howdy.
Hi, bud. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
No.
A good howdy.
Yes, that was a good howdy.
A good.
Had a meeting with the suits.
You know, I don't understand why you and the suits get to meet and they never include me.
Or me.
Well,
what's up with that?
Number one, you're 50 to
Careful.
100 miles away,
Uh-huh.
so that causes an issue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They prefer talking to me to you for some reason. I don't know. Apparently, I'm one of their favorites.
I'm not going to touch that for so many reasons.
But anyway, I do have a piece of news, Sasha.
Yes.
News.
We were not able to secure a sponsor to go to Chicago with Ken.
Oh.
I know. However, we will be working on that in the future.
So can we start looking for a sponsor so we could go to CES?
That one too, yes. But CES will be over by the time that we could even come up with an advertiser now.
No. We've got all year so we could go to it next year.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. I see what
Start
you're
now.
saying. Yes.
Start saving up your pennies, people.
Yep.
Send us your dimes.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yep.
Oh,
well,
goodness.
hey, we're not.
We're not shy, huh?
No, we're not shy at all. Okay.
I am a little.
I know. Okay, Ken. Now, you and I have talked about this over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. is becoming the number 2 crude oil producer in the country, in the world, excuse me. I'm assuming Saudi is still first, or the Middle East is still first.
No.
Who's first?
Russia.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
So Saudi's number 3?
Will be, yes.
Okay.
Wow.
So I want you to go ahead and explain to me and everybody else, what does this actually mean? Are we a little late to the party?
No. Let's take you back. I got to take you back almost 50 years. Conventional wisdom at one time in the United States was peak oil. That means the height of our ability to remove crude from the ground.
Right.
Was expected to be in 1970. And they expected from then on that we would get less and less crude from the ground. Enter in technology and a whole bunch of different ways that we are now able to extract crude from even supposedly fields that are worn out.
You mean fields that would be dry?
Well, worn out.
Okay.
Is a term I'd rather use than
Okay.
dry, because obviously they're going in. And in the terms of one wildcatter who bought supposedly one of these worn out fields,
Mm-hmm.
he said that he would get more oil out of the ground in the upcoming years than the majors got in the first 90 they owned it.
Wow.
In a supposedly played out field.
Okay.
Then there's North Dakota and U.S. shale oil.
Yep.
We've got a bunch of things coming in play here. One, OPEC has gotten production stable and production cuts, and they're kind of in this catch-22. If they pump more oil, they may tamp down other producers, but they're depleting their supplies faster, and they're getting less for it. If they maintain the production caps they got, it means that, okay, fine, but it allows the price of the material to rise, bringing in competitors. That's exactly what's happening. But actually, Saudi Arabia did America a favor a few years ago. When Saudi Arabia decided to pump more oil,
Mm-hmm.
they forced out the weak producers and the high leverage producers in the shale oil fields. So when they contracted, the folks who had the money and could wait bought assets on the cheap and squeezed out the folks who couldn't afford to hang. Now, our producers up there are more flexible, better financed, and can actually take whatever they throw at them. It means basically they strengthened our industry without realizing it.
Yeah, because I remember when that boom, the first one,
Went
actually
bust?
started. No,
Yeah.
actually started.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were approached to go up there and start building houses because they had no place to put all these guys, and these guys were staying in any and everything imaginable.
Yeah, when you're paying $1,000 a week for a bedroom,
Yeah.
and some people were even sleeping in their cars. Making
well,
50
that's what I meant. They were
Yeah.
sleeping in cars, trucks,
Yeah,
campers,
making
RVs,
to
whatever.
$60,000 or more dollars a year.
Yeah.
And had no place to live.
Yep.
But in any case, so the combination of that is bringing shale oil back online, and they expect us to hit production above over 10 million barrels of crude a day in the United States. And did I mention we actually export a little bit?
Yeah, I've heard that, but explain that, please.
Just like you said, we're exporting domestic crude oil from the United States to other places.
But isn't it the light stuff and not the heavy stuff?
Yeah, but you don't want the heavy stuff. The heavy stuff's the equivalent of asphalt and tar, and
Oh,
it's
I know.
not
Right.
real friendly. No, we've got the good stuff,
Okay.
and we're exporting that. But here's the thing: Saudi is trying to diversify as we speak away from oil, because
We had talked about that.
And we
before.
have.
Yes, we have.
we have now. The problem is, if you belong to OPEC and you're a smaller country, you're caught in a squeeze. you need the oil revenue. So you want to pump all you can. But pumping all you can will eventually drive down prices,
Yep.
causing budget shortfalls. So if you're a larger country, you may have the wherewithal to weather it. If you're a smaller country, you want to pump.
Yeah,
And OPEC, up till now, has not been successful in maintaining these folks that everybody play by the rules.
well, and that's been their problem for how many years now? A lot.
A lot.
Okay, Ken. Before we run out of time here,
Yeah, but wait a minute. I want to leave you
Okay.
this last thought on this. We are also the #1 producer and net exporter of natural gas.
now that I knew.
Yeah, for the first time in 60 years.
Yep.
Just thought I'd throw that out there, that both crude oil and natural gas.
Okay.
Well, late
so-
to the party, but
Hey.
Okay, Sasha.
Yes,
This
sir.
this next one, I think we can barrage him with a bunch of questions.
Well, you don't have much time before the
number
break,
one.
so go for it.
What do you mean by putting dreams in my driveway?
because I got some pretty big jeans.
Oh, I do too.
Vehicle dreams, first of all.
And yes, their vehicle.
Yeah, due to consumer-friendly financing arrangements, this one company could put pretty much, if you've got the money, they'll put a Ferrari, a Porsche, Aston Martin, Lamborghini, or maybe even a McLaren in your driveway.
I'm not interested in any of those.
Yeah. Well,
Now
here's
he
the
might
thing.
have me a Ferrari.
Yeah, not so much. They're getting interest from all sorts of people because they're putting together special deals that allow these high-value cars that people can lease them at affordable rates. And the interest is unrelenting. Prices have been going up for the last 5 years. Interest has been going up for the last 4 years.
What is the average cost of what they say the lease is?
Well, I can't speak to that because I didn't get into that, but the average vehicle in the company portfolio is over $1 million.
Right.
For vehicles that are actually being financed, where people buy them,
That was the question I
about
was asking.
$228,000. So if you're looking at this and you're only wanting a little bit, like maybe a 5-year lease, which is most of these,
Okay.
you can get into them pretty reasonable, relatively.
And what are we? Can we put a dollar amount to what is reasonable?
They did not, but I'm guessing based on the math and the mileage, you're probably looking at, I would say in and around between $1,000 and $1,500 a month, considering these vehicles cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you would be looking at $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. But you can do it. When we come back, the Chinese are coming. Really? And later, a present risk, your OBD2 port. This is RoadWorthy Drive.
This is RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Yeah. If you're willing to lease, their exact words were creative financial arrangements. They did not get into what that meant, but I'm sure it has to do with time, residual, mileage, insurance, and your ability to pay. But honestly, if you're looking at, a $225,000 vehicle spread over 5 years, it's tens of thousands a month. Actually, over $20,000 a month. If you could lease that thing for 1/20th what you would have to pay for it to buy it outright,
Wow.
for some people that works.
You know, I just, I
And
can't get there from here. I don't know. What about you, Jack?
And
No. Oh God, no.
and
No.
that's that. But if you're looking at a Porsche that could go for less money, you could get into it. $100,000 Porsche, maybe you're looking at a $400 or $500 a month payment.
I am looking at a Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would absolutely love one of those workhorse pickup trucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
when that
I didn't
comes
see
about.
that as part of their portfolio.
Yeah, they need to add those to the portfolio.
You need to talk to them, dear.
Because and what is this that you're going to be teasing us with? GM coming out with an electric pickup
Yeah, we'll
truck?
talk about that later in the
before-
show.
How are they going to measure up against the?
We'll talk about that later in the show.
But I kind of want to know now.
You're not gonna know now.
Patience is not a virtue.
No,
Well,
and
it's gonna
he's
have
not
to
going
be.
to tell you.
I am not.
Can I see the sheet though?
No, you
No.
can't.
No, the financial one, the one that you just did. I want to get the company name.
Hold on.
See, this is what happens, everybody, and this is why we get along so well.
Oh, we get along?
Yes.
What? Premier Financial Services, LLC.
Sasha, if we all didn't get along, his mic would be shut off.
Well, then we wouldn't be here.
It would be kind of funny just to watch him
and
be.
see, we can rebut his argument now because you and I had to do a show by ourselves.
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
Aw.
One house. Oh, that sounded like a dare. Did that sound like a dare to you, Jack?
Yeah, it did.
Did. Did sound like a dare. Okay.
Okay.
All right, people.
Are you ready?
No.
Okay.
Well, we'll just, have our own fun. So, Jack, what is
No,
new with
'cause
you today?
No, because Jack needs to listen to me.
Because I have an hour and 6 minutes before
There
I have
you
to be
go.
down the hall.
Okay, you've got that queued up?
I'm all ready to go.
9 minutes?
I'm ready for 9.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
If you want an anti-lock braking system like Mercedes, a driver airbag like BMW, a rear load-leveling suspension feature similar to Rolls, and a more advanced transmission than Jaguar, this is a simple way to get it all. Introducing the all-new Chrysler Imperial. There is no luxury without engineering.
The guaranteed rebate has been extended until February 28th. Get $1,000 now.
See, Sasha, that answers your question.
Does it, though?
It does. You could get a 1990 Chrysler Imperial and have it all.
I just don't
Put it
think...
in your driveway.
I just don't think that would actually be all. I mean, it would be a lot of problems.
Not necessarily. Nice car if you can get one.
No.
If you're just tuning in, this is the second segment of this hour of Roadworthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester, and thanks for dropping by. Over the last few years, I've shared with listeners about the imports of Chinese-made vehicles by some of the major automakers. To be honest, until I actually looked up the information, there was no hint in the build quality that there were any glaring deficiencies. And I said this years ago, that when the Chinese started building vehicles, they would be offered for sale in America, and that unlike the Japanese and the Koreans that came before, the quality curve would be much steeper, and in fact has been. I bet you had no idea. The current Volvo S60, the Buick Envision crossover, and even the Cadillac CT6 hybrid sedan are all, as Jack would say, wait for it, made in China. And those are whole vehicles. This isn't even dealing with the many component parts found in some of the most unlikely places in probably the vehicle you're driving now that's made in China. Now, after long last, it appears that the number 2 market in the world, and that's right, the U.S. is number 2, after, you guessed it, China, that a Chinese manufacturer is planning to offer its wares in its own name here with some help from a well-known domestic automaker.
Okay, now you have me curious.
Mm-hmm. Now, you remember in our last show, we were talking about a particular automaker and their future.
You mean their non-existent future?
Well, take that as you will. And I said that put a pin in that. Remember that?
Yes, you did.
Here's why.
Okay.
The name of this company is GAC Automotive in Japan. They are the 6th largest automaker in Japan. They are also one of the top quality automakers in Japan. They've actually worked with both Toyota and Honda building vehicles on their behalf, and in the last 5 years have won awards from both those companies for quality.
Okay.
Also finished highest, and I say this I say this a little bit conflicted.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain myself. Now, the information I have says they finished at the top of the J.D. Power and Associates initial quality survey, but you know how I feel about those surveys.
Yeah, I do.
So I say it, I leave it alone, and I'm not even going to go any further. They've been looking at coming into the United States now for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
They've been trying to plan.
Okay.
They are taking a number of steps. They opened a technical center in Silicon Valley. They're looking at opening a second facility in Metro Detroit. And then eventually they want to open a design studio in Los Angeles. Important note. Back in 2014, they said they were selling about 200,000 cars a year. They said by 2017, we want to build 500,000 vehicles. And folks were like,
did they make it?
Hold on. Folks were like, we don't think you're going to make it.
Right.
Yeah. Last year, the company sold 508,000 vehicles, up 37%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're looking at bringing a SUV, an upscale SUV type vehicle to the United States. Now, you might remember we've talked about this company too. And the minute I say the name that they use in the rest of the world, you'll remember. These were the people who had this nameplate, Trumpchi.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yep, I do.
They are very concerned of not using that name in the United States.
I would hope not.
They had some concerns. So we don't know what they're going to call it. Now, here in the middle of all of this, the current administration's having a fit about them coming over. Both the Democrats and the Republicans are fussing.
Okay.
Now, what is their premise?
Well, trade policies of U.S. goods to China and tariffs and all of that.
Right.
But here's something to think about. They said at the Detroit Auto Show, the North American International Auto Show in Detroit.
That happens to be in Detroit.
Yes. They're going to start selling vehicles in the United States in late 2019 through a partnership with, wait for it, Fiat Chrysler.
I knew it.
Wow.
I knew Sergio had something up his sleeve.
Now, they've been doing some things around the world, I guess, together. But, again, my take on this, very, very shortly, is that they got the money. Fiat Chrysler has the footprint.
And the dealer network.
And to start from.
Yep.
Sergio says, no. That I'm not agreeing with him. And they're showing it's a beautiful vehicle that they're looking at selling.
Wow.
It's a nice looking, very finished vehicle. Here's their concept.
That almost looks like, one of the Kia products.
Yeah. Now, they showed a concept called the Enverge electric two-door concept. It's a compact SUV that say it have an all-electric battery range of 370 miles, outpacing the Tesla Model 3's range. A 71 kilowatt-hour battery can be recharged, Sasha,
yes,
wirelessly.
What?
Yeah. Reports said it could be recharged for 10 minutes to cover a distance of 240 miles. We've been talking about this, people.
Yep, we have been.
Okay,
I
now,
told you it was coming.
would I have to install something in order for it to?
Well, they didn't get in all this because it was the concept they were showing.
Right.
But, yeah, can be recharged wirelessly.
It's amazing.
Told you that was coming, folks. Yes. And they won't be the last automaker. They expect to sell 100,000 vehicles annually within the first couple of years, and then they would explore, and this is the kicker, they would explore building an assembly plant in the United States. What did I tell you?
That they're looking for an assembly plant in the United States.
But what does that mean?
It means that one of the plants that is sitting idle at the moment may become active.
Maybe. Or a whole company.
Okay, I think I just finally caught your point. Are you thinking they're going to buy Fiat Chrysler?
All a part of it. That would be my position. They've got top-end quality. They want to make a footprint. If you're spending money like you got sent, you're going to want to buy some stuff that you can build from. And I think that this might be the perfect out strategy for them, for Fiat Chrysler, particularly since they're a few billion short on their development. So, food for thought. Coming up, a real and present danger lurking in your car. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to RoadWorthy Drive.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is America's premier automotive news and information talk show.
Yeah. The move has been a long time coming for the Chinese automaker based in the southern Guangdong province, the country's richest. Through its decade-long partnerships with Japan's Toyota Motor and Honda Motor Company, GAC has learned vaunted Japanese production methods and earned top quality scores among Chinese automakers for 5 years running.
Wow.
If that don't sound like tailor-made for me. You got the money, you need to hit the ground running. The second largest market. You can spend 20 to 30 years building from scratch, or you can take over some stuff and upgrade from there.
Yep.
And the upgrade's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper.
Way cheaper. And
Yeah.
you can take the money you're not spending on that and pull your electric technology, which they have, autonomous technology, which they're developing, and a dealer network that's starved for product now. You bring them quality product, they'll love you to death. And you've got choices. You can bring your own brand over. Maybe you rebadge it as a Chrysler, a Dodge, or a Fiat.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Are the nameplates worth what they used to be?
No. The only two that are worth any money.
Is Ford and Chrysler.
No. The only nameplates that are worth any money in the Fiat Chrysler world are they still own Maserati.
Yeah.
They still own Alfa Romeo. They still own Ram and Jeep. The volume makers are Jeep and Ram. That's where the money is in the current market. You literally could buy the company, use those to fund your projects, and to backstop this stuff. To me, this makes more sense than anything I've read in the last couple of years. And remember, the current chairman of Fiat Chrysler has been trying to find a merger partner all these times. Some other Great Wall Motor kicked the tires, took a pass. Hyundai was sniffing around for a hot minute. He wanted Toyota to buy him. He wanted GM to buy him. But that made no sense. No sense at all.
Well, not for either one of those two. And
No.
it sure in the heck wouldn't make sense for Ford either.
No. And they didn't even approach Ford. But it makes a heck of a lot of sense. Like I said over and over, for a Chinese company with money and technology to buy them outright. Or at least buy a major piece of them. Or maybe some kind of deal where you said, okay, we'll buy the whole company. We're going to shut these other brands down, keep Jeep, keep Ram, bring in our own, use the factories and the parts and the whole thing to take it to the next level. Everybody wins. They buy Fiat Chrysler at a high stock price where it is now. The dealers have product that, if anything, gets better and more of it and more diverse, so they're ready for go forward and have a value going concern. Because here's a question. If you're a Fiat Chrysler dealer right now and you're looking at either letting the kids take it over or sell, right now, selling's a good idea. But if you're looking 10, 15 years down the road, if you're honest with yourself, you're asking the same questions we are.
Where's the company going to be in 15, 20 years?
Yep.
Where is the viability? And by right, the value of my dealership.
Yep.
So much for that. Now we're going to the third segment in 9 minutes. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hold on. I'm almost with you there, boss. I'll be with you there in a second. Get this out of the way, and then we can roll on.
I was really surprised that they didn't get they didn't announce a merger.
Well, and see, that's my thing. I think that they're starting out, with this, oh, no, we're just helping them. And I think they're kind of testing the waters. Sergio's at a point where he's got to be sweating.
Well, and the other thing, too, is what I got to wonder is if he's not looking for his golden parachute.
He's
Yeah.
retiring next year.
I know.
He's going to get paid regardless.
Well, I know, but there's getting paid and then there's getting paid.
Yeah, but here's what I think is really going to happen. I think, honestly, it is what it is right now. But unlike American companies, the Chinese take the long view. The Japanese take the long view. They've delayed several times coming to the United States. We don't know why, but it was going to happen. They were going to be here in 2017. They were going to be here. Didn't happen. 2018 didn't happen. Now it looks pretty solid. It's going to be 2019. I refuse to believe they're not taking the long view and saying, okay, second largest market, what makes the most sense for the money that we have? Do a partnership, learn what we can, and if the company's not too far gone, maybe we think about buying all a part of it.
Yep.
What they probably won't get is Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and probably Fiat. Fiat's the wild card. But the upscale marquee brands, Sergio will keep them because they're imported from Europe anyway.
Right.
And you'd keep that part of the company because he's always wanted to run a boutique company. He didn't want to run a company this size.
And the one thing that you got to look at too, Fiat has not been long for being in this country, or maybe even the state.
This is the second time around for Fiat.
Okay, I don't ever remember Fiat as a kid.
Yeah. You didn't because they didn't sell in big numbers, and they certainly didn't sell out here. But they were in the United States in the 70s. The Fiat 124, the Fiat X19 Spider, they were here. Just like Peugeot.
And by the way, how many cars did Fiat sell in the United States last year?
I don't know.
That would be an interesting question to look up.
Not that many.
How many what?
How many cars did the brand Fiat sell in the United States?
Which would be the Fiat 500C, the Fiat 500L, and the Fiat 500X.
And the other thing, too, is we have only had a Fiat dealer in our area for, what, 2 to 3 years?
About 4 years.
Been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that doesn't really mean too much.
No, absolutely
because,
not.
It took us forever to get a Saturn dealer.
Yeah.
It took us forever to get a Hummer dealer.
Yeah.
It took us...
And,
took time.
And unfortunately, with a lot of people I knew, when Hummer went out, there were a lot of upset people. Because
but here's a little secret. The H2 is basically a Chevy Colorado. The H3 is basically a half-ton pickup.
Yep.
Underneath the skin. So other than the cosmetics, the running gear, and what you need to have, you can still get parts for it.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay.
Fiat looks like they sold.
In your mic.
Sorry. Looks like Fiat sold a whopping 2,606 vehicles.
That's not accurate. They sold more than that. That's probably for December. Please double check.
I am.
Yeah, that's not right.
I would have thought.
Fiat Chrysler numbers states in December of 2016 and December of 2017.
Yeah. Month to month, year to year
Month to
comparison.
month.
Yeah, not aggregate.
Why can't you give me the whole year, dude?
Because you probably didn't put it in that way.
I'm trying.
See,
No.
I can tell. My guess, the number that is probably 10 to 15 times that number. Because they were, yeah.
So you're thinking someplace around 30, 40.
That would be about right. Yeah.
I would have said maybe I would have reached the 50, but
Ish.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yes. Welcome to segment number 3 of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester. So, have you checked out our new and improved website yet? We recently redesigned it from top to bottom, and I'm really pleased how it turned out. It has a cleaner look to it and is much easier to navigate. At RoadWorthyDrive.com, you can watch videos of the behind-the-scenes antics as we produce the radio show in studio every week, listen to past audio clips, and more. Meet the folks behind the scenes who bring you the show each week, as well as discover what we are doing in the world of social media. Sasha is our social media diva who keeps things light and lively during the week with interesting and thought-provoking posts of an automotive nature. Check it out and see how she keeps the social and our social media. Now, on this subject, and what really started this subject I'm about to talk about, I'm going to try to stay out of the weeds, but it's one of these things I think you should be aware of. Was thinking about Jack, too, because Jack is our resident anti-techie.
I would not go that far.
Well, I didn't say you hated technology.
No. I have security concerns.
And that is kind of what drove this. Got a press release, as I get a lot of press releases, and it was talking about this one firm offering OBD2 readers. And it got me to thinking, and it triggered a memory way back deep about security concerns for these particular ports. Now, let me explain a little bit. And like I said, I'm going to try to stay out of the weeds, but this is something you need to be aware of. Every vehicle, every light-duty truck, not necessarily the heavy-duty ones, but your light-duty trucks, minivans, cars, crossovers, whatever, since 1996, has had a port inside the car called an onboard diagnostic port.
Yep.
OBD2. Why the 2? It was the second iteration, and this is the one by federal law that became standard. Now, the reason for these ports back in the day, initially, was to identify and otherwise verify or fix faults in the emissions control system. Those are the only faults that the engine computer was supposed to trigger, like an engine backfire or other malfunction that would cause the emissions from the vehicle to exceed the acceptable limits by law. So they developed readers that the mechanics could plug into these cars, read the faults, find out what the problem is, fix the problem. And it's been that way for now 22 years. However, and this is the but, the automakers figured out down through the years that this would be a really great place to add capabilities for checking the health and diagnostic capabilities of other automotive subsystems.
Right.
So the OBD2 port became more important of not just emission control, but for checking other systems, developing different faults, and give the mechanic a way to quickly assess the health of the vehicle, what's gone wrong, what faults am I getting, which are codes that come up that they can look up for that manufacturer to tell them this is what this code says, this problem happened. Based on this problem, here's your decision tree or here's your process tree for either clearing the fault or and repairing the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But as I learned, and we talked about this right around Christmas, that's not always true. Because I had a fault in a brand new vehicle.
Yes, you
That's
did.
right. You had to take it to the dealership.
I chose to take it to the dealer. But as it turns out, when I looked in the owner's manual for what should have triggered that fault, what the dealer told me, didn't match.
Really?
Really. What I learned and what the dealer learned is there was a temperature sensor in a place that had never been before. And that temperature sensor reading in that particular camshaft sensor didn't mesh with the temperature sensor at the bottom of the oil pan.
Uh-huh.
And that, sir, triggered the fault.
Okay.
I didn't know that in the case of what we used to call check engine light, which was mainly an emission control default problem,
Mm-hmm.
They told me if the light had stayed on solid, you would have had no problem. Nothing that would have jeopardized the control and running of the vehicle.
Correct.
He said if it was blinking, you needed to bring it in. I went, what? It blinks?
I don't think I've ever seen it blink.
No.
From what I understand and from what the owner's manual says, you don't ever want it to.
Well, no.
Because if it's blinking, it needs to go to the dealer.
Well,
right now.
My question is, if it's blinking, do I need to shut it down no matter where I'm at?
Probably. Depends on the vehicle. But
Oh, wow. Good to know.
it's not a good thing. So, remember I said the automaker started adding stuff to it.
Right.
Now, though only emission-related codes and data are required to be transmitted through it, according to U.S. legislation, most manufacturers have made the OBD2 data link connector the main connector in the vehicle through which all systems are diagnosed, and here's the scary part, reprogrammed.
What?
Yeah. I was thinking about you, Jack. I was thinking about you.
Whoa, back this truck back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that would ring some bells.
Yeah.
It rang some bells for me.
Why would you need a reprogram in the first place?
All the computers in the vehicles now, and they've got flash memory, and maybe you're putting in an update, a safety update or repair update or a service bulletin update which required reprogramming to incorporate different attributes to correct the problem, which would have been fine except of all these data readers that have the ability to clear codes, repair codes, whatever. Now, security issues. I'm so glad you asked me, Jack. There have been reports of thieves using specialist OBD reprogramming devices to enable them to steal cars without the use of a key. Did I mention I'm not talking autonomous cars. I'm not talking electric cars. I'm talking probably the vehicle you're driving right now.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, to spook you a little further, in 2012, that's 6 years ago, vehicles produced by BMW, Porsche, Opel, Renault, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and Toyota were stolen by programming a blank key fob to start the car through the OBD connection. Although the good news, most of those automakers have corrected that problem.
Thank goodness.
In particular, and this was spooky too, the FBI has recommended that vehicle owners should check with the security and privacy policies of third-party device manufacturers and service providers, and they should not connect any unknown or untrusted devices to the OBD2 port. Did I mention that came from the FBI?
Yes, you did.
And Homeland Security. Yes,
Yep.
sir. Yes, sir.
So how do I know as a customer whether the box at my Ford dealer or my Chevy dealer is legit?
It boils down to this. If it ain't done by the dealer, don't put nothing in there that ain't original equipment.
Oh, you're talking about the devices you can get supposedly to clear your own codes.
Yeah. Or other little baubles to track your driving record or whatever, things to track mileage.
Oh, you're talking about Hum.
Well,
could-
Progressive
any of the-
also has one.
Any of those things would be
Wow.
suspect because they have found that the security level for those things are inconsistent. Well, folks, when we come back, will GM beat Elon Musk? We'll find out. This is RoadWorthy Drive.
You're tuned in to RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Last spring, Carnegie Mellon University released a study by the Department of Homeland commissioned by the Department of Homeland Security, aptly called "Onboard Diagnostics: Risk and Vulnerabilities of the Connected Vehicle," stating that most OBD2 aftermarket devices have significant security flaws or no security at all.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Thought about you, Jack.
Oh, that number for Fiat sales? I've got it.
Which is?
26,492.
Yeah.
Well, you were about right.
Thought it was around 24,000.
Yeah.
But remember, it's one brand of a group of brands in Chrysler's dealer strategy to have all their brands together. You know, the days of the standalone Dodge dealer, the days of the standalone Chrysler Plymouth dealer,
Are gone.
gone. Oh, our local Fiat dealer is also the Alfa Romeo dealer.
Really?
Yes.
That's kind of.
I was about to say, can you get an Alfa Romeo in
Oh,
this
yeah.
town? Okay.
You can buy the new Stevio in town tomorrow
Oh, I won't be.
if you
but-
want it.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Just
I
saying.
won't be. Okay, 8 minutes, 50 seconds, sir.
Okay, hold on. Let me get all the.
I don't know how much longer I can hold on because I'm looking at the clock.
Okay, well, give me a moment, sir.
Moment over.
Get my paperwork straight.
Yes, you need your paperwork straight.
My paperwork getting straight, I get confused. And being confused is not a good place to be
No.
with all the research that gets done around here.
Research? No, we don't need facts here.
Apparently, you didn't read the employee agreement.
I did not. No, I just signed my name.
That's the problem right there.
Exactly, because it says we do research.
Oh, man.
Okay, Chief.
Ready?
Yes, sir. This is the fourth and final segment for this hour of Roadworthy Drive. Thank you for dropping by. I'm Ken Chester. Now, before we tackle the last topic on the agenda, an actual programming note. With the introduction of so many new vehicles from the Los Angeles Auto Show, the International Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and the North American International Auto Show in Detroit, a special treat. For the next two shows, I'm going to focus on the best in show. One will be all domestic, and the second one will focus on the imports. We'll be posting pictures of these vehicles to our Facebook page for all to see, so you're not going to want to miss out. That's what's going to be coming up on our next couple of shows of Roadworthy Drive, so you're going to want to stay tuned. And if you're really good, I might even give you a real sneak peek and confirmed introductions in Chicago, which is what I'm going to be in a few weeks. And
Yes, you will be.
I will. So, getting back to the question at hand, will they or won't they? And I'm talking about General Motors and the question that surrounds the building of a pure electric pickup truck. Now, we've reported here that Elon Musk has announced his intentions to do just that. But with his plate full already with the Model 3 sedan and a new electric semi-truck, the promise of a pickup truck may be yet further down the line than you might think. So, the question is, will an energized GM beat Elon to the punch? What do you think, Sasha?
As much as I root for Elon, I would have to say that if GM sets out a goal to produce a truck that would be worthy of their standard consumer base, that would be comparable to what they have, what's available now, except in an electric market, they would beat out Tesla.
What do you think, Jack? You're a truck owner.
They're going to beat Tesla. Tesla's got too many problems right now. And GM's got the resources and the ability. They've already got the Bolt with a B. You know, they've already got that nameplate taken care of. But now I think what you're going to find is the question is going to become, will that truck actually sell enough to offset the cost of making it? Or is this going to be something that may take 2, 3, 4 years to come around before they're profitable with it?
I think the first bout is probably going to have the same problems that, the Dodge Ram had when they went to the new tranny back in, the late 90s? Or the early 2000s?
Actually, it wasn't so much the Ram as it was their cars, and it was Ultra Drive,
Yeah.
1989.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But here's the difference. Let's lay out some facts. In the 100 years GM's been around, they have built 500 million cars,
Yep.
trucks,
Yep.
heavy trucks. So they don't have, production hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a thing, because they've got processes. We're in a different time now, people. You don't get a pass. The public is not giving you one. If your product isn't right out the gate, you're done.
Yep.
Put a fork in you, it's over. It's not like using the consumer as the last mile for product testing. Those days ended at least 20, 30 years ago. Consumers doesn't have that kind of patience. And honestly, the quality at this point that everybody is building demands that you get it right first time.
Well, but one of the things that you and I have talked about is that people don't like change. One of the things with pickup owners, we like to hear the rev of the engine. I have been in an electric car.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rev of the engine.
Mm-hmm. But
There's nothing to get me excited about.
let me leave you a point.
Okay.
Electrics have been pulling weight since the railroad days in the 30s.
Oh, I know that.
But something to remember, fuel economy standards, something I've beat on repeatedly over and over and over.
And you need to drop that subject.
Not going to happen. GM in the 2019 Silverado has got aluminum doors, hoods. The vehicle is 450 pounds lighter.
Okay,
than a
and
current.
now goes that commercial's got to go bye-bye.
Well, yeah, no, because I know the commercial you're talking about.
Yep.
They did not go to an aluminum box. High-strength steel, and they actually made the box a little wider. But they found other places to lighten the load. Also, remember, fuel economy. They got to get there. A pickup's heavy.
Yep.
And if you're not going to get there through an internal combustion engine, and I don't see how you do, then you've got to go electric. Remember, GM's been fooling with light hybrids. You've had a hybrid pickup truck. You've had a hybrid SUV, full size, what we call light hybrids, about 10 years ago. GMC Sierra, Silverado, the Yukon, and the Suburban.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been there. They've got some history. Plus, you've got the brawn and the strength and the depth and the width of General Motors. GM didn't just start working on electric vehicles. They've got 40, 50 years of doing this.
Okay, but you and I have talked about with a lot of this stuff that's coming our way that the public is going to need to be educated. Because I know the first thing I would ask as a truck guy, can this thing pull the same thing that my combustible engine?
Oh, easily.
Okay.
And all they got to do is show that in a commercial, just like they keep beating over folks' head the difference between Ford's aluminum box and Chevy's steel box. You know, that's easy. You want to show the difference? They put a pile of rocks in there, and they showed the difference, the before and after. What is believed is going to happen is they believe you're going to get a plug-in hybrid, and then they think you're going to get a pure electric.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe that GM will have the ability to do this right around 2020 to 2021 based on the current Silverado chassis. So think about that for a minute.
Okay.
Oh, and let me throw this at you. Sidebar, plug-in hybrid version of the Jeep Wrangler 2020, which is, to me, too little too late.
Yeah.
But I'm not even going to mess with
Well,
it.
and they're going to do that. But I guess
And by then I can get my Volkswagen, the van.
GM is planning in the electrics between crossovers, sedans, and trucks to have some 12 new products hitting the market across their nameplates by 2022, 2023.
okay.
gonna
So we
win.
still got another 4 or 5 years yet.
Wow.
Not exactly, because to get there, you're deep in it now.
Yeah.
You don't just, boom, here it is.
Oh, I know that, but what I'm saying is we're 4 or 5 years away from actually seeing the pickups on your dealer lot.
I would say probably 4 years tops because they got it like that. But it's coming. They figured in the case of Elon Musk that he's still 4 years out only because he's got to build a greenfield plant. He doesn't have the room there in Fremont to do it.
Right.
So, well, so much to discuss, and as always, so little time. Be sure to tune in next week when we cover the new vehicles introduced at the recent auto shows. On behalf of the RoadWorthy Drive team, thanks for listening. This has been RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is a copyrighted presentation of the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of the Motor News Media Corporation.
Before we call it a day for this one, let me be clear on a couple points. One, GM has not officially announced an electric or plug-in electric. However, they left the door open at their recent introduction of the 2019 Silverado with a couple of power plants. They said they were going to build 6. They only introduced 3 different power plants, which, believe it or not, will include a diesel in a half-ton Silverado pickup. That's coming. That has to be part of the solution. However, GM's commitment to electrics is pretty solid. They expect, if that happens, that they could beat Tesla to market by as much as 2 years, maybe more. And as a nudge to Elon Musk, there won't be any production hell, folks. I can guarantee it. So on behalf of Jack, Sasha, myself, we appreciate you dropping by and watching us go through it behind the scenes. And until next week, thanks for watching. See you later.